You might not realize it, but by the time you reach 80, there's a good chance you've lost nearly half of your muscle mass compared to when you were younger. This condition, known as sarcopenia, affects tens of millions of people globally and quietly strips away independence. More than 50 million seniors are living with it, and each year, over 300,000 older adults end up in the hospital due to falls linked to weakened muscles. Here's where things get interesting. A study published in the Journal of Physiology challenges the long-held belief that extreme muscle loss is simply part of aging. Some individuals in their 70s still show physical strength, mobility, and even appearance that rivals people decades younger. While most struggle with everyday tasks like standing up from a chair or climbing stairs, these individuals live independently and regularly outperform younger people in strength assessments. Some are still hiking mountains and playing competitive sports well into their 80s and 90s. Like and subscribe if you appreciate educational health videos like this one. So, what's their secret? Research shows that 93% of older adults are unaware of the daily routines that can help slow, stop, or even reverse muscle loss as they age. Scientists at the Mayo Clinic have identified these habits. Surprisingly, many physicians don't mention the most vital practice that could help patients in their 70s and 80s rebuild muscle mass. According to Harvard Medical School, what science now shows to be critical for maintaining strength in later years is often at odds with standard medical advice. Stick around, because the first habit might involve a mistake you're already making every day. This one common error actually triggers genes that accelerate muscle breakdown, but correcting it could be the key to staying mobile and independent for years to come. Before we dive into the list, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Now let's jump right in. Strategic exposure to stress. Hormesis. One of the more surprising things highly active seniors do is voluntarily expose themselves to hormetic stress, a mild form of stress that strengthens the body. Hormesis refers to the idea that low doses of things that are harmful in high amounts can actually be beneficial in small, controlled doses. In other words, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and that includes your muscles. The Buck Institute for Research on Aging has found that short bursts of certain stressors activate the body's cellular defenses, helping preserve and even enhance muscle strength and growth, even among older adults. The most common type of hormetic stress used by superagers is temperature change. Cold exposure, like ending a shower with 30 to 60 seconds of cold water or doing quick cold plunges, activates brown fat, boosts mitochondrial growth, and increases adiponectin, a hormone that protects muscle from degrading. On the flip side, regular use of saunas and hot tubs also provides benefits by stimulating heat shock proteins that help repair and maintain muscle tissue. A large Finnish study found that people who use saunas 4 to 7 times a week experienced 40% less muscle decline over a decade compared to those who didn't use them at all. The second form of hormetic stress is intermittent fasting, or eating within a strict daily time window. By narrowing their eating period to 8 to 10 hours each day, these individuals boost muscle quality and activate autophagy, a cellular cleansing process. A study from the Salk Institute showed that this can improve mitochondrial efficiency in muscle tissue by up to 10% in just 12 weeks, without causing weight loss. The third stressor: isometric muscle contractions. This involves pushing or pulling against fixed objects with full force for short periods, about 5 to 10 seconds. This method sends a powerful signal to muscle cells to stay large and functional, but without straining the joints. Because these exercises are brief but intense, followed by proper recovery, they help activate genes linked to longevity, like FOXO and sirtuins, which focus on maintaining muscle mass as we age. Start gradually and allow your body to adapt. You want beneficial stress, not overwhelm. Protein timing over quantity. While many seniors focus on how much protein they're eating, It turns out that when they eat, it may be even more important. As we age, our bodies become less effective at using protein for muscle repair, a condition known as anabolic resistance. A study in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults should spread their protein intake evenly across meals, rather than consuming it all at once. That's because the muscle building window opens 3 to 4 hours after each meal. And if most of your protein comes at dinner, you're missing those earlier opportunities. Instead of having toast or cereal for breakfast, try starting the day with eggs, Greek yogurt, or a protein smoothie. For lunch and dinner, go for lean meats, fish, legumes, dairy, or plant-based proteins like lentils and beans. When participants in a University of Texas study followed this pattern, eating 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein at each meal, they gained an average of 1.2 pounds of muscle in 12 weeks, without changing anything else in their routine. It's not just about the amount of protein, timing matters too. Optimizing your vitamin D levels. Here's something most people don't realize. Over 80% of older adults are running low on what researchers call the muscle vitamin. Vitamin D deficiency is quietly weakening the strength and stability of millions of seniors worldwide. While it's known for supporting bone health, vitamin D does far more than that. Scientists at Harvard discovered that vitamin D actually activates specific genes responsible for building and maintaining muscle tissue. Inside your muscle cells are special receptors that respond to this vitamin, setting off a chain reaction that helps preserve muscle mass. In a landmark study published in JAMA Internal Medicine, older individuals with optimal vitamin D levels had 25% greater muscle strength than those with insufficient levels. Even more impressive, they also showed significantly better reaction time, balance, and coordination. These improvements are key to reducing the risk of falls, which are a major threat to independence in old age. A vitamin D level below 20 nanograms per milliliter is considered deficient. But what do superagers, those who remain fit and active well into their 80s and 90s, have in common? Most maintain blood levels above 40 nanograms per milliliter. So what's the best way to keep your vitamin D in that ideal range? While sunlight is a natural source, its effectiveness fades with age. By the time we reach 65, our skin's ability to produce vitamin D from sun exposure drops by about 50%. That's why the typical daily recommendation of 600 IUs is often not enough. In fact, most seniors need somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 IUs daily, but it's crucial to base this on a proper blood test. In addition to supplements, include vitamin D-rich foods like fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified dairy products in your diet. And when possible, aim for 15 to 20 minutes of midday sun a few times a week. But there's an important caveat. High doses of vitamin D without enough vitamin K2 can lead to calcium being deposited in arteries instead of bones. K2, found in fermented foods and certain animal products, works alongside D to direct calcium where it belongs, into your skeleton. This overlooked nutrient partnership may be the key to unlocking strength as you age. So, ask your doctor to test your vitamin D levels and aim to keep them above 40 nanograms per milliliter to help prevent muscle loss and stay active longer. What's one surprising trait that strong, active seniors tend to share? Low levels of chronic inflammation. Scientists have identified a phenomenon called inflammaging, a persistent, low-level inflammation that plays a major role in muscle deterioration as we age. This slow-burning internal fire causes muscle proteins to break down faster than your body can rebuild them. Even worse, it blocks the very signals your body relies on to grow and maintain muscle after exercise or eating protein. A groundbreaking study from Tufts University revealed that seniors with the highest levels of inflammation lost muscle mass 3 times faster than those with the lowest levels, regardless of how much protein they consumed or how active they were. So what are the anti-inflammatory habits followed by superagers, the older adults who remain strong, mobile, and resilient? Sleep is their first priority. These individuals keep consistent bedtimes and make sure their sleeping environment is completely dark. Sleep loss can trigger a spike in inflammatory cytokines, up to 40% higher, which speeds up muscle atrophy. They also pay close attention to gut health. New findings from the University of California suggest that aging-related changes in gut microbiota are a direct cause of chronic inflammation. To counter this, superagers eat a wide variety of plant foods, 30 or more types per week, along with fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut. These are rich in probiotics and fiber, both essential for supporting healthy digestion and reducing systemic inflammation. They're also smart about how they move. Daily physical activity is essential, but too much intensity can backfire. Most strong seniors stick to moderate workouts most days, incorporating short, intense sessions once or twice a week. This approach builds strength without overstimulating the body's inflammatory response. And lastly, they include specific anti-inflammatory nutrients in their diets. These include omega-3 fatty acids, 2 to 3 grams daily from sources like salmon or supplements, as well as curcumin from turmeric, and antioxidant-rich foods like blueberries, green tea, and extra virgin olive oil. In just 12 weeks, age-related changes in gut bacteria alone can cause inflammatory markers to jump by nearly 30%, according to UC researchers. That's why many proactive seniors use a simple blood test, like one that measures high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, to monitor inflammation and make adjustments before it impacts their muscle health. HSCRP is a simple blood test that can help you monitor inflammation levels. While the average senior has readings that are 3 to 5 times higher, superagers typically keep their levels below 1.0 milligrams per liter, a critical marker of healthy aging. Another key strategy used by those with exceptional muscular strength is daily intake of specific vitamins and minerals. While most dietary advice focuses on macronutrients like protein, carbs, and fat, superagers pay close attention to micronutrients that enhance muscle function and protein synthesis. These nutrients act as the behind-the-scenes enablers. Without them, no amount of protein or exercise will fully protect against muscle loss. One of the most essential yet underappreciated is magnesium. Researchers at the University of Vermont call it the forgotten electrolyte. For muscle health, it's involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions, many of which directly support muscle contraction and relaxation. Yet more than 70% of older adults are deficient. A 2021 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors with healthy magnesium levels had 30% stronger grip strength and significantly better overall physical performance than those with even mild deficiencies. Superagers often take magnesium in bioavailable forms, like glycinate or threonate, and eat magnesium-rich foods daily, such as leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and even dark chocolate. Creatine is another powerful tool in the superagers' toolbox. Often dismissed as a supplement for young athletes, it's actually one of the most well-researched and effective options for preserving strength in aging adults. In a study from McMaster University, older individuals taking creatine experienced greater gains in muscle mass, strength, and even cognitive function compared to those who only exercised. Just 3 to 5 grams per day can help enhance muscle energy production and hydration, creating a more anabolic environment. Vitamin B12, especially in its methylated form, is also vital. As we age, stomach acid production declines, reducing our ability to absorb B12 from food. Worse, common medications like proton pump inhibitors and metformin deplete it even further. Low B12 can impair both nerve function and the energy generation required by muscle tissue. That's why many superagers opt for methylcobalamin, the active form of B12, rather than the cheaper and less effective cyanocobalamin found in many multivitamins. Finally, mineral cofactors such as zinc, selenium, and chromium shouldn't be overlooked. These trace elements are critical for protein synthesis and insulin sensitivity, which in turn help deliver nutrients directly to muscle cells. Optimal levels of these trace minerals were linked to a 22% greater preservation of muscle mass over a 5-year period, according to a comprehensive study conducted by Tufts University. This is one reason why many high-performing seniors opt for micronutrient testing, allowing them to identify and address specific deficiencies, rather than relying on a one-size-fits-all multivitamin. By tailoring supplementation to their unique biochemical profiles, they avoid unnecessary treatments and often save money in the long run, while gaining far more targeted benefits. Another powerful but often overlooked strategy for maintaining strength is preserving the neuromuscular connection. Most people believe muscle loss is purely about shrinking fibers. But there's more to it. The real bottleneck often lies in the link between the brain and muscles, what scientists call the neuromuscular junction. Think of this junction like an electrical outlet. No matter how powerful the appliance is, your muscle, it won't work if the plug, your nervous system, doesn't connect. Unfortunately, these connections tend to deteriorate more rapidly after age 60. And when that happens, even a perfect diet and regular exercise may not be enough, because the brain simply can't activate the muscles effectively. However, there's good news. Studies from the University of Michigan show that superagers tend to retain significantly stronger neuromuscular pathways, helping them preserve not only muscle mass, but also coordination, reflexes, and balance. Excitingly, researchers have identified specific activities that can preserve or even rebuild these vital pathways. In contrast to conventional strength training, which primarily targets muscle tissue, certain forms of movement also train your neurological control over those muscles. Activities like Tai Chi, dancing, tennis, and ping pong require the brain to coordinate precise patterns of movement. These exercises aren't just physical, they're neuromotor workouts. A 2020 study demonstrated that older adults who perform these types of coordination-rich activities twice per week preserved their neuromuscular connections, 31% better than peers who stuck to traditional workouts or walking. These results emphasize how crucial it is to challenge both your body and brain in tandem. Another lesser-known strategy involves nutritional and biochemical support for the neuromuscular system. Antioxidants like alpha-lipoic acid and acetyl L-carnitine have been shown to protect the nerve-muscle interface from oxidative damage, which accelerates with age. Moreover, certain forms of vitamin B1, especially benfotiamine, along with natural compounds like huperzine A from Chinese club moss, support the production of acetylcholine, the key neurotransmitter involved in triggering muscle contraction. Superagers also tend to incorporate breathing techniques that stimulate the vagus nerve, a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system. When properly activated, this nerve can enhance neuromuscular regulation, reduce stress-related inflammation, and support better brain-to-muscle communication overall. By combining movement practices that challenge coordination, targeted nutrients, and nervous system stimulation, superagers are able to maintain the critical link between mind and muscle, allowing them to remain strong, agile, and balanced well into their later decades. You might be surprised to learn that just 5 minutes a day of intentional breathing can improve neural activation of your muscles by up to 15%. One simple yet effective technique is box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4, and hold again for 4. This small daily practice helps stimulate the vagus nerve, a key player in neuromuscular regulation, and primes your brain to communicate more effectively with your muscles. But perhaps the most fascinating discovery in this realm comes from Columbia University, where researchers found that engaging in mentally stimulating activities had a profound effect on muscular health in seniors. Since the neuromuscular system and the brain share many neural pathways, exercising the mind appears to reinforce and preserve the brain-to-muscle connection. Puzzles, strategy games, learning new skills, these aren't just good for memory. They literally help your body move better. By combining physical coordination exercises, brain training, breathing techniques, and targeted supplements, superagers are able to retain strong neural connections to their muscles, even into their 80s and beyond. This is how they stay nimble, strong, and responsive, while others, their age, may struggle with basic movements. And now, we arrive at what many experts consider the single most powerful practice to protect and even rebuild strength as we age: resistance training that builds progressively over time. Researchers at Tufts University have even gone so far as to call it the most potent anti-aging drug we've ever discovered, and for good reason. Most seniors never realize a simple truth. Your muscles operate under the rule of use it or lose it, but with one major caveat: it's not enough to use your muscles. You must continually challenge them if you want to preserve them. Walking or doing the same water aerobics class every week might keep you moving, but it won't stop age-related muscle loss past the age of 60. So how do superagers approach resistance training differently? First, they focus on intensity, not duration. Research from McMaster University shows that just 2 weeks of high-intensity resistance training to the point of muscle fatigue produced greater muscle gains than 5 weeks of lower-intensity efforts. The key is what's known as transient muscle failure, the point at which you can't do another repetition with proper form. This triggers an anabolic cascade that boosts protein synthesis in your muscles for up to 72 hours after a workout. Second, they prioritize compound movements, exercises that engage multiple muscle groups at once. Reduced versions of squats, rows, deadlifts, presses, and pulls are adapted to individual needs, especially for those with joint limitations. These movements produce a stronger hormonal and metabolic response compared to isolated exercises like bicep curls. Third, they use progressive overload, a fundamental principle in strength training that means gradually increasing difficulty over time. This might involve adding a small amount of weight, doing an extra repetition, or increasing time under tension. Without progression, the body adapts and growth stalls. Superagers track their progress, ensuring that each session is just a bit more challenging than the last. Fourth, they pay special attention to the eccentric phase of an exercise, the lowering portion. Slowly lowering weights increases time under tension and provides significant strength benefits while minimizing joint strain. This is especially effective for older adults, allowing for safer yet highly effective strength gains. Even those starting late in life can see dramatic results. A groundbreaking study from the University of Alabama found that older adults who began a 12-week progressive resistance training program improved their strength by 35% and gained an average of 3.3 pounds of muscle. They also saw improvements in brain function, bone density, and blood sugar regulation. So what's the most common mistake retirees make? Many believe that resistance training is too risky, too intense, or too outdated for them. But the real risk is not doing it. Without resistance training, muscle loss accelerates, leading to frailty, falls, and a loss of independence. If you only adopt one habit from this video, make it resistance training. Begin with guidance if needed, perhaps from a knowledgeable trainer. Then slowly increase your intensity over time. Even 2 30-minute sessions per week can dramatically influence how quickly or slowly you age. There you have it. The research-backed practices that explain why some 80-year-olds retain strength, vitality, and independence that most people associate with a much younger age. Start with one small change, maybe a handful of leafy greens, a breathing practice, or a walk that includes a few squats, and build from there. Your effort today is an investment in a stronger, more independent future. Now it's your turn. Are you already doing any of these habits? Which one surprised you the most? Do you know someone who's strong and active in their 70s, 80s, or even 90s? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, give it a like and consider sharing it with someone you care about. Thanks for watching. Stay strong.